everyone. I'm excited to share my journey of self compassion with you. It's a journey of self discovery and growth, and I hope that by sharing my experiences, I can inspire and support you on your own path to self compassion. There are many things that you need to have some self compassion about. If you're anything like me as a parent, you feel like you have to be perfect at everything that you do. You have to have a perfectly cleaned house. You have to have children that behave perfectly, excel academically, and are in the top of their extracurricular activities. You have to have the perfect marriage and the perfect friendships. You have to have excel in your career and be the best in your field. You have to be the best at taking care of yourself by eating healthy and exercising so that you can look exactly how people expect the perfect person to look. If you ever feel like you need this perfection, dear friend of mine, what you really need is self compassion. I think that I always struggled early on with perfectionism, and I think it came mostly from comparing myself to others. Growing up, I had three sisters who never gained any weight. Two of them were so extroverted and outgoing that they always had friends, and I was this shy, quiet kid. In high school, I tried taking the advanced classes, and while I would notice everyone else had an A on their vocabulary test, I would have an F no matter how hard I studied. I never felt good enough about myself because I was always comparing myself to others, and I never knew my full worth. This was my earliest stage of feelings where I could have benefited from some self compassion. Awareness is the first step in ever overcoming any obstacle. The thing is that awareness is typically a really slow process. You may have glimmers of moments of awareness of a change that needs to be made, or oftentimes you have to go through the obstacle multiple times before you think, oh, this is what I need to be doing. And sometimes, no matter what, you still have to continue to bring awareness to how to control that particular situation. So, when I was having feelings of not being good enough in literally any and every aspect of my life, it probably wasn't until I started to counsel other people that I found that they weren't giving themselves enough self compassion. And lo and behold, I started to finally pick up on the fact that I wasn't giving myself the same self compassion that I was trying to give to my clients and teach my clients. So, the biggest step after you become aware of something is to seek knowledge about it. I think this feeling of not being enough and trying to always be perfect has really led me down the road of self improvement and self growth. So, anytime I ran into an obstacle, I'm reading Atomic Habits, I'm reading about autism, I'm reading about literally any topic that pops into my life that I think I do not know enough about this. I'm listening to podcasts like Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning. I'm finding the information I need and consuming it like a wildfire attack. Self compassion is one of that is much harder to find out there, but there are so many people that tell us, would you speak to yourself the way that you do if you were talking to a friend? That is the thing that hit me on the nail on the head the hardest. Through all of these tools and knowledge, I may be finding a way to provide self compassion to myself. So here's the thing, with anything that you do, you have to give effort. Awareness takes time, seeking knowledge takes time, but effort takes action. That's when you have to know a plan of action to provide the jumping off point and having the awareness of when you need to provide yourself with self compassion and maybe when you need a different tool instead. So, my initial effort was to practice meditation. And when I can practice a self care routine every day, then I can use those same tools a lot easier when I need to be providing myself self compassion. So, I had been practicing my morning self care routine for a long time, and I had been getting some good practice in. Well, A few weeks ago, I was having a rough day, and in which something like negative was happening over and over again, and it's like not in your control. It just keeps happening. You're like, what is going on with this day? So the final last straw was I received this email that just like sent me over the edge because it was obviously accusing me of doing something wrong, which resulted in those feelings of why can't I just be perfect? Why can't I just do things right? I thought this is when I need to practice my breathing. So I worked on doing that. The feelings were not going away. So I tried a different tool that I use, and that was journaling. I wrote down all the bad things that were happening, and then I followed it up with a solution or a way for me to provide that self compassion that I really needed to seek in that moment. Within 10 to 15 minutes, those feelings of not being good enough vanished, and I was able to let go of it. What a breakthrough! Obstacles are inevitable. We will all suffer in life, and we all have things happen that we don't control. And sometimes we do control it, but we're not always making the best decisions for whatever reason. Do you think I will likely ever not feel like I need to be perfect? Do you ever think I will suddenly just stop feeling like I'm not enough? It's not likely. It might become less and less with time and practice, but those feelings are probably going to arise occasionally. And that's my obstacle. When I know I will have that obstacle and I know I will need to use self compassion, I've created the process of providing that for myself when something isn't happening to my expectations. I throw in that thought: if I was talking to my friend, what would I say to her? And then start talking to myself in that manner. When you can practice self compassion for yourself, you can also show compassion for others. It's like a twofold situation because I may have experienced the same thing as someone else and I showed compassion with myself. Then I can, in return show compassion to someone else. The opposite is also true, like having compassion for those that are experiencing grief. And now that I'm experiencing it, I have been giving myself more compassion about not being perfect because I am not able to give of myself as much during this grieving process. So, having empathy and self compassion go hand in hand. Self compassion and self kindness are related concepts, but have subtle differences. So, self compassion encompasses a broader range of emotions and attitudes. It involves not only being kind and understanding toward oneself, but it also involves acknowledging and validating one's own suffering and difficulties. It's about treating oneself with the same care and concern that you would offer to a good friend in times of pain and struggle. Psychologist Kirsten Neff, a leading researcher in self compassion, defines it with three core components: self kindness, being warm and understanding toward oneself; common humanity, recognizing that suffering is a universal human experience; and mindfulness, holding one's experience in balanced awareness. So, self compassion is often emphasized during challenging or difficult times. It encourages individuals to be gentle with themselves when they face setbacks, failures, or emotional distress. So, kindness is one of the components of self compassion. It specifically refers to treating oneself with warmth, care, and understanding, much like you would treat a dear friend. Self kindness involves being gentle and forgiving toward oneself, especially when making mistakes or facing difficulties. It's about avoiding self criticism and self judgment. Practicing self kindness often includes positive self talk and affirmations. It's about countering negative self talk and inner criticism with self support and encouraging language. While self compassion is a broader concept that encompasses self kindness, as one of its components, self kindness focuses on being kind, gentle, and forgiving toward oneself. Self compassion goes further by also acknowledging the shared human experience of suffering and embracing mindfulness in how one relates to their own challenges and emotions. The benefits of self compassion have been life changing. I experienced a newfound sense of peace, reduced anxiety, and improved self esteem. My overall well being improved in ways I couldn't have imagined. When I start to experience those feelings of perfectionism or a lack thereof, or that I may have done something wrong, or I knew what I wanted to do and then I didn't, I focus on the skills I've learned and the actions I've practiced to reap all the benefits that self compassion offers. If you want to be more peaceful, have less anxiety, and improve your self esteem, work towards practicing self compassion. It became clear to me that I needed to share my self compassion journey with others. My motivation was to help individuals like you embark on their own paths to self compassion. In doing so, I created a series called Master Your Moment, and it includes 6 practices that can help you with a variety of skills to personal growth, including self compassion. These include meditations, visualizations, writing prompts, exercises for your physical health, links to videos about specific topics, and affirmations. If you like a free guide, you can go to masteryourmoment.net to get a copy. I also have a 14-day free trial that provides access to the whole program that is currently on sale until November the 1st. The response from those who've joined me on this journey has been incredibly rewarding. I've received messages from people sharing how they've been inspired to practice self compassion and witness transformative journeys in their lives. I host these wellness workshop events and received the kindest message from one of my participants the other day. He said, I really enjoyed last night. You did a great job of leading us into some deep topics in a inviting and calm way. When I drove back to Tupelo, I felt refreshed. You are the best kind of leader, someone who helps people see that they can do things they never thought they could do before. When I need some more self compassion, it's easy to think of moments like this when someone has celebrated me for helping them. It's what I live for, just like they say on Naked and Afraid, except I don't live to be naked or afraid. One of the next steps in showing self compassion is also recognizing having gratitude for the people who have shown you compassion. My boss from a year ago left to become superintendent of the school district, and we had worked together for over 10 years. You go through a lot in 10 years, and as the only school counselor, I had to form a close and positive working relationship with him. I am so grateful for his compassion with me when I wasn't perfect. He was always understanding, listening, and recognizing that I need compassion to grow and become the person I am now. Without his guidance and his support, I don't know if I would be as self compassionate as I am today. So, who is someone in your life that you are grateful for having the experience to help guide and show you self compassion? To everyone watching, I want to say you can embark on your own journey to self compassion. It's never too late, and you're never alone in this. Take that first step, and you'll be amazed at the positive changes it can bring. If you want to chat more about self compassion or get more guidance about other topics related to personal growth or self care, you can email me at masteryourmomentbyleslie@gmail.com or feel free to DM me on Facebook or Instagram. Don't hesitate to reach out, as my goal is to be as helpful to you as possible. My self compassion journey has been a transformational one. I encourage you to begin your own journey today. Let's support each other along the way. I have an amazing free Master Your Moment guidebook that you can get from my website, masteryourmoment.net, to help get you started. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you. Like, follow, or subscribe to find more ways to master your next moment.